Hello, welcome back to Am I Tesla Guy. Thank you so much for coming back for another video. This video is going to be my take on the holiday update from Tesla, at least part one. Elon alluded to there being some more that's coming here in hopefully the near future. I will run through everything to at least mention everything that was in there, and even some stuff that I noticed that I did not see in the release notes. However, I am going to focus on only 2 or 3 main things for some more detailed coverage. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's talk first about what version we are looking at. And there actually has been an update already since I got the holiday update. So the version number is going to be a bit off, but I believe this latest version is actually just bug fixes because it lists all the same stuff is a prior one. In case you're wondering, I'll put somewhere down here the version number that was the original version number of the holiday update. But this one that we're dealing with is 2020.48.30. Just to run through the items quickly that are in that, we've got release note improvements. This is actually the look you get with that, where you see it this way and then it shows down kind of down the side the different versions. So we got release note improvements. We've got a few new games. The Battle of Polytopia. I've heard Elon likes this game, which would explain why it's in here. Then you've got Cat Quest. This one does require a game controller. Looks actually like the graphics are pretty impressive on that one. Think I'll have to get my son here in the car and hook up a controller and see what that one's like. Solitaire, kind of the age-old video game. And then there's this Boombox feature, which turns your car into a boombox and entertain a crowd with your media player when parked. Now, the Boombox is actually one that I'm going to cover in more detail, so we'll keep going. Driving visualization improvement says the driving visualization has been refreshed and now offers a larger visualization. It also points out that the next turn will now appear above the visualization if the navigation turn list is covered by another app. This is another item that we're going to go through in more detail. Scheduled departure improvements. Scheduled departure can now precondition your battery and cabin even when your car is unplugged. It also allows you to schedule for different utility rates if you have that through your electric utility. Emission testing mode improvements. What more could you ask for than improvements to fart mode? Emissions testing mode can now be used outside the car, just what everybody wanted. Supercharger display improvements. This is actually pretty neat. Supercharger pins on your touchscreen will now display the number of available stalls at charging sites. And then vehicle information has moved. You no longer have the Tesla T up here. If you want to get to it, you have to tap your car and then software, and there you've got your stuff. All right, so there's your brief overview of what's included in part one of the holiday update. Let's take a look at some of these in a little more detail. The first one I want to take a look at in more detail is the way that superchargers are now displayed on the screen. So let's go to the supercharger button, take a look at what we've got. You can see the number is 10. Meaning there's 10 stalls available. You got 4 up here, we can click on it to see. I think this is a really, really good change because some of the new supercharger stations that Tesla is setting up have a lot of stalls. There's one out in Fireball, California that has 56 stalls. That's a lot of stalls. And if you remember, the way this used to be displayed when you go to it is that it'd have like a bunch of little rectangles out to the side that would show how many were open and how many were available. That really doesn't work when you've got 56 stalls. The other example would be in China. I believe they just opened the world's largest supercharger station, which had 72. So this is a really great change. I'm happy to see that. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on whether you think this is an improvement or if you actually preferred the old way of showing available stalls at a supercharger station. Now, one of the ones I'm going to spend a good amount of time on is on the driving visualizations, because this is a pretty big change. When parked, as you can see here, the visualization side takes up a much bigger amount of the overall screen and the map takes up less. You will see that the avatar for the car, it is quite highly detailed. I'm very impressed by the quality of the avatar on the car, and it actually will show some really cool animations. So if you watch right here, I'll put my driver's side window down and you'll actually see it going down right there. Yep, see it going down all the way down. Now I'll put it up and you can see it going up, and it does that with all of the different windows. And then if I am to open my door, it's kind of a smooth open of the door. We'll show you that. And then closing the door. Very smooth. You get the same thing with the frunk and the trunk. Just a high quality visualization, which I think is really neat. All right, now that we've got that view out of the way, let's take a look at what it looks like when you're driving. Again, much bigger screen, much bigger avatar of the vehicle. So I'm going to head where we'll get a little bit of street driving, a little bit of highway driving, and hopefully I can show you a lot of this when we're doing it. So again, much bigger on the car side of the display. My initial response is I do kind of like this bigger display. One thing I do want to point out is it did talk about different locations for things, and you'll see that here. So now your park, reverse, neutral, and drive are along the left, and they are pretty small. And then you got kind of your lights there. And then at the top, you've got, you know, your speed and your set speed for your traffic aware cruise control or autopilot. And then you've got your autopilot symbol right there. And then you've got the speed limit sign recognition. If you have not seen my video about that, I will put a link up here somewhere. Go check that out to see more about that. And the other thing is, up here is now where you're going to find your regen, right there, see green, regen, or how much energy you're using, and along with your range. And then you can see here's where your turn indicator shows up, and if I were turning left, it would show up over here. Now, something that I've seen quite a few complaints about are those who have vision problems. I mean, you can see I got glasses on, I wear glasses. So a lot of people are reporting that it's a little harder for them to see. The speed you're traveling is a little smaller. Park, reverse, neutral, drive over there, what gear you're in, gear selector. And I can see that. I do think it is a little bit smaller. I will say I initially did not like that layout, but it is growing on me, and I actually like it because I can actually see the speed just out of the corner of my eye without thinking much about it, even though it is smaller. And one thing I want to point out that it does talk about in the release notes, but I think it's very cool, is let's say I pull up music and I cover up this screen. Now it's putting my next steps in the turn-by-turn navigation right there. That I really, really like. I kind of feel like that should have been there a while ago. With these larger visualizations and the larger car avatar, you can look and see, you can actually see the turn signal on my car. Hopefully the video will pick that out, but my turn signal, you can see it flashing on my car. And there you again can see my turn signal right there, and you can see the brake light coming on. So that gives you an idea of the overall visualization. If you've seen any of the videos from the early access program folks who have the new beta of full self-driving, this is kind of getting us towards that, because their view is like this. Actually, their view is even bigger than that. The one that I've been watching the most is Dirty Tesla. He's a fellow Michigander here. I will link to his channel down in the description of this video. Feel free to go check it out. I think he does a very good job of methodically walking through different things and testing different things. So I'd recommend you go check out his videos on the full self-driving. But this is really, I believe, moving us towards that kind of a layout. Now, I will say that Elon had mentioned in a tweet that there would be a way that you can adjust the size of this. Bring it over here or bring it over there. I don't know all that goes into programming that, but I think that'll be a neat feature for those who prefer to have the visualization side smaller. They'll have that option, and I think that's a really good approach to take so that people can customize their screen to be more like they would like. One thing I do need to add is that because this is bigger, I do catch myself having to glance farther over to see the map. I don't really have a firm opinion on that yet. I did find it actually quite annoying when I first got the update, but I'm getting used to it. Again, if you're navigating to someplace, it'll actually put the next one or two directions for your navigation on this left side, and that kind of takes away the need to really look over to the map. Now, the last thing I want to show you as part of the visualizations is something that I did not see mentioned in the release notes, and I don't know why, because I think it's kind of fun, and that is what I'm calling new and improved Santa mode. Actually, I think it's very similar to what Santa mode used to be, but that was back before I had a Tesla. So if you want to trigger Santa mode, the easiest way is just to do this. Ho, ho, ho. And there you go, Santa mode. Now, I wish I would have got footage of the old way because it was not nearly this detailed. My car is this nice big sleigh with Santa, and we got the reindeer in front. I just think that's so cool. And you've got the snow falling down. And another thing, as you probably already noticed, is cars coming the other way, they show up as reindeer. See, here comes a car, here comes a car. One thing I did not notice till yesterday is that the harnesses that the reindeer have on them are actually lights. So I'm coming up to a stop, and you will see with my turn signal that their lights will blink. I don't know if you can see that, but the harness, the lights are blinking. And I apologize for the screen being so bouncy and everything. Michigan roads, if you've never had the joy of experiencing them, hopefully you never do, because they are just absolutely treacherous. The other thing I want to point out is, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at their little legs, they're doing their thing, where they're actually running. So I will actually pull over here for a brief moment to show you what it looks like when you are in park. Alright, so there you get the full-size avatar of the Santa mode, but if you look at it, it's actually a Model 3 sleigh. You can actually see the detail, you know, the front end's a Model 3, it is still a sleigh. You know, Santa's got a hold of the reins, you got your presents in the back. I just think that's so neat, and it was not something I saw in the release notes, so I had to make sure to share it with you. The last thing I'm going to talk about in a little more detail is the Boombox feature. Now, how you get to this again is you go into the Toy Box. So you click down here, and then you click on Toy Box, and it is the first thing that comes up. You will see that you've got 3 choices there, and the description says, entertain a crowd with your media player when parked. We're going to talk about that. You can also adjust the sounds your car makes. Please check local laws before using in public places. Probably a good idea. Although you have to wonder if public laws talk about, say, a car farting in public. Not sure that it covers that. So you have 3 main kind of areas to choose from here. You've got your horn, you've got a sound for driving, and then a sound to play when you use summon. For the horn, we're going to walk through each of these real quick. We're going to test to see what they sound like outside the car, and also a test to see whether you can use them when you're driving, because you see it says entertain a crowd with your media player when parked. I'm kind of wondering, and I haven't spoiled it for myself, I've not watched any YouTube videos that have really covered this, so I'm not sure. When it says replace horn, does that mean like when I'm driving, I'm replacing the horn, or once I'm driving, has Tesla made the decision in the software? No. When you're driving, you're going to get the standard horn, because we got to make sure it's loud enough people can hear it and it meets laws. So let's walk through these. So the horn sound, you have fart. If you know, this is the emissions thing, and that sounds like this. There's posh, which is,
well, I never.
Toss a coin.
Toss a coin to your witcher.
Goat. Old horn, I like this one. Applause. Ta-da. But DJ. La Cucaracha. And then we've got some of my custom ones. The finale from Star Wars A New Hope. I'm a Star Wars guy. The Imperial March, Jaws, and the Knight Rider theme song. So the question becomes, does it, when you pick this replace horn feature, does it actually replace the horn while I'm sitting still? Let's find out. Yes it does. So the question becomes then, will it replace the horn while I'm driving? So let's cut to some other footage and find out if it does.
All right, so I just got home and it dawned on me that I forgot to mention that I did test that idea of the replace horn option. Does it actually replace the horn when you're driving? The answer is yes and no. So as soon as you pick, horn sound, and then you flip the switch for replace horn, it will completely replace the horn while you are in park. However, when you put it into drive or reverse, it moves that slider back over so it does not replace the horn. However, when I tested it, what it does is when you're driving, if you honk the horn, it does the normal horn sound. I mean, it's a standard car horn, and then right after it does the normal car horn sound, then it does the sound that you've picked, whether it's the fart or posh, which is my favorite, the one that says, well, I never. That one. So I tested it, and that's what it did. So there you go.
All right, so next up is the driving sound. You get a whole bunch of things you can pick from as well, and it plays these much louder inside the car. That makes me think that it does not play very loud on the outside of the car when you're driving, but we'll find out here in a moment. So let's run through each of these real quick. Coconuts from Monty Python, gotta love that. Of course, because Elon's involved in this, you got Snake Jazz. Polynesian elevator music. Toss a coin again, we already heard that one. Rainforest. Rock and roll. I think this one's pretty cool. I just think it'd be cool to be driving down the road and people hear that. A harp. Ice cream truck. I actually have plans for this one if it plays loud enough outside the car. Merry-go-round. Caribbean music. And then of course you got my custom ones again. And I have to say I was not really correct. You can hear it pretty well from the outside, far enough away that, you know, if you're driving by people who are walking on the sidewalk or something, they're probably going to notice it. I don't know what they'll think about you when they notice it, but they're probably going to notice it. All right, and the last one is going to be summon, and this of course would be, you know, summon forward, summon reverse, and I would assume smart summon. I will be testing these out, and we'll put some footage in here on that. It'll give you the same choices that you've got in the driving sound one. You can see that here. It's all the same ones, including the custom ones that I have on my USB stick. And let's cut to some footage and see how that actually works in summon. I'll try one going forward, I'll try one summon going backwards, and then I will do smart summon.
All right, this is the test of summon. And this is reverse summon. And this is smart summon.
There you go. That's the summary of Boombox. I do think it's kind of neat. It's more of a party trick, you know, like a lot of things, like the Model X where it does the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and raises the doors and all that, which I think is really cool, by the way. One thing I do want to point out is, as I mentioned, you can put your own custom music or sound effects into where it'll let you choose. You can see down here where I've got it, and it refers to USB before that. I did have a little trouble getting that to work first, so I'm going to put in the description down below what I did to get it working. Just a combination of an SD card put into a USB card reader and then put into my car. And that worked out. And you also have to have it formatted a certain way and everything. So I'll put those instructions down in the description of this video. But one thing I wanted to point out is I noticed it is actually using the USB input of the music section of the card. If I go to music and I pick USB, that's where it's getting the information from. And why this dawned on me was because I was listening to a podcast before I put my USB stick in, and then I put the USB stick in, and I put it on one of my custom sounds that I had and thought that that custom sound was going to play when I drove, and it did. But then I wanted to listen to the podcast in my car on Spotify while it was playing the music on the outside of the car, and that did not work. It did not let me listen to a podcast. It didn't let me listen to the radio, anything like that if I was playing on the outside, because it basically forced it to use the USB. If you've tried this, if you are aware of another YouTube video where they tried it and they were able to get that work, I would really love it if you'd let me know about that in the comments down below, because if there's a workaround for that, I would really like it. I'd like to be able to play the sounds on the outside of the car while listening to whatever I want to listen to on the inside of the car. And that's my overview of what should only be the first part, hopefully, of the Holiday Update 2020 from Tesla. But if you enjoyed the video, got some kind of value out of it, if you please could throw me a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. The vast majority of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. Thank you again for coming back. It was great seeing you again, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.